Hello and welcome back to the Tank Observers podcast. My name is Jackson McCarty, as always, joined alongside with my co-host Chris Barr. And Chris, what are we doing today?
We are buying and selling much like we did earlier with QBs, but with RBs.
Not the fast food chain, the position that typically stands behind the quarterback, runs the ball a little bit, might even catch. We're hitting on what I would say are the biggest names in this draft class. And really, if you watch the last video, you understand exactly what's going on. You know what to expect here. So why don't we just go ahead and jump into it?
Yeah, why not?
First off, we're going to save Travis Etienne for a little bit later in this video. I wanted to kick it off with Tuba Hubbard. Topher, go ahead and pitch me on Tuba Hubbard. What do you think of him?
He's just a big play machine. Not as much this year as last year. There's plenty to be desired after watching him play last year as opposed to what he's doing right now.
Understandable.
That being said, I'm buying because, when you're going to have a name like Tuba Hubbard, come on. But also, I've been waiting for the next Arian Foster since he's retired. I even loved watching when he was in Miami. He played like a game and a half before he got hurt, but it was still Arian Foster.
Yeah,
it was still Arian Foster.
Still churn up those memories.
He was so much fun to watch, and I think maybe a year or two into his career, we could see some of that breakaway, unable to be tackled type play that we saw from Arian Foster in Tuba Hubbard. Now, I'm not saying that right away. He doesn't have speed that blows anyone away, but he's hard to bring down when he's in the open field, and that is a very desirable trait.
Yeah, I can understand where the hype is coming from. Tuba Hubbard is a great college running back, but I am personally selling as a solo back. There is a bit of caveat here because in the NFL, the receiving running back is becoming a necessity. He's not going to be able to do that on his own. If you look at his college numbers, over 3 seasons, 29 games to be exact, he has 47 catches for 420 yards. Where does that really help you? That's not even really great enough numbers for the average running back in a season in the NFL. So I have a lot of worries about that. Plus, his numbers are projecting a bit downhill. Too much for me. He went from 6.4 average last year to a 4.9 in the first 3 games of the season. I do think he'll pick it up. I do think he's a talented player, but I'm going to pass on him as one of the top tier running backs in this class. I just haven't seen enough personally.
Can I come back to his defense real quick?
Yeah.
I'm sure we all remember when Derrick Henry got drafted.
We do.
I'm sure we all remember what his first 2 years looked like.
Yeah, that's why they saddled him with Dion Lewis.
Why can't they do that again? Dion Lewis is no longer in that Tennessee backfield.
You're 100% right.
And I thought J.K. Dobbins was going to go to Tennessee and take over that Dion Lewis role, let him develop alongside them as a little thunder and lightning.
Right.
Would have been awesome. Didn't happen. But they could totally do that. They could totally saddle Tuba with a very solid receiving running back along the lines of your J.D. McKissick.
Yeah.
Or maybe he goes to Washington football team and goes alongside Antonio Gibson. That'd be a great duo.
I don't want to saddle Antonio Gibson's development yet. And like I said, I do enjoy Tuba Hubbard as a running back. I just, like you mentioned with the Derrick Henry thing, he's going to need help, especially as he's figuring out the NFL. I love Zach Moss last year. He can fulfill a similar role, but I don't think Zach Moss would have been nearly as successful if he didn't enter a position where he had a Devin Singletary type player. That's more my gripe. I don't think he's a first round running back strictly because of what he has to have around him in my eyes. So yeah.
That is fair.
Next up, we've got another bruiser, Najee Harris. And let me kick this one off.
All yours.
Alabama running backs work. They just do. We've seen it time and time again. Mark Ingram. We saw it with Trent Richardson for half a second. We saw it with Derrick Henry. TJ Yeldon deserves to be working more than he is. He keeps falling into these just crowded backfields. I don't know why those teams sign him. Najee Harris is going to be the next in line for that. And you could have seen it from a mile away, in my opinion. In only 3 games, Harris has 10 touchdowns on the year. That's an average of a touchdown per every 5.2 carries for him. Think about that. If that's not efficient, I'm not real sure I know what the word means. And besides, he's gotten better every single year of his college career. I'm willing to bet that that continues at the next level, personally. To you, Toph?
I don't know what else to add to that. You kind of sold them on your own. I'm also buying. I too am buying. He's the definition of user truck when you see it flash across that bottom bar in Madden. That's what he is. He inspires defensive backs to just cowl in the corner. He's terrifying. Is he Derrick Henry? No. He's not 6'3" and 250, but he's damn close.
He's definitely the closest thing Bama's had.
Typical Bama bruiser.
Yeah.
He's a power back through and through. I love watching that in the NFL because you see your Christian McCaffreys and your Alvin Kamaras, and they're not those bruiser types. You have a few of them like Nick Chubb and Derrick Henry, but it's not the atypical running back anymore.
No.
But Najee Harris is one of those guys. I'd love to see him be that number one option in the backfield.
Najee Harris also slots in very well with some of those old school, prototypical coaches. If any of the running backs on this list were going to go to Washington, I think it'd be Najee. He just, especially with Ron Rivera's grit, determination. We're not going to talk about Scott Turner because that could be a podcast unto its own and who's running the offense. But he's just, the way Ron Rivera teaches his teams is we fight for everything. Najee Harris is the embodiment of that.
That's why I was a little surprised when he took CMC because we saw what happened with Jay Stu and a little bit also with D'Angelo. He's not a bruiser, but he had no problem going between the tackles.
Oh yeah, no, they're just so that just works for Ron Rivera and who he is as a person, who he is as a coach, and he will fit in with any of the teams that are still trying to cling on a bit to the roots that they came from. But yeah, that means that we're both buying on him. Let's move on to Kylin Hill. More specifically, does the injury scare you a bit? Topher, you want to take this one?
Oh yeah, I'm selling. The running back injuries, and we have a Washington football team fan on our show.
Unfortunately.
Bryce Love. We all know what happened, and I don't like to bring up bad memories.
There's still hope.
But running back injuries should scare you. Should they stop you from drafting him? No, but they should maybe hit a notch on your list and be like, maybe he'll fall now. Kylin Hill, he's another truck stick. He lowers his shoulder. He's another one that bowls, just runs through defensive backs like paper. This dude's a Lynch clone. He just drops his shoulder. He's not as quick. And he's not a guy that's going to be in a backfield alone. He's going to turn into your typical fantasy vulture. He's going to take the touchdowns away from your speed runners.
He's going to be a Tolbert in his first couple years.
Absolutely. He's going to be a Tolbert.
I am glad you touched on Marshawn Lynch, though, because of that comparison and that mention, and I hate to keep bringing up Zach Moss as well, but it means I have to buy on him because, of course, it would be out of my character not to. I am a bit worried for Kylin Hill that he's going to get hidden in an air raid offense, but with that potential being hidden, maybe it'll help him work on his receiving game. I liked Zach Moss a lot last year, and I think Kylin Hill is very, very close to that. But no matter how much I like them as running backs, I do have to acknowledge, like I acknowledged earlier in the video, they will have to have a complementary piece. He could be a two-down back, but he won't ever be the only guy running the ball for your team. But that's going away in the NFL. So I am buying on Kylin Hill. Any other touches?
No, you nailed it. I'm not buying, but he can. He can spend his money there.
Teach their own. Now,
exactly.
I teased this one a bit at the top of the show. Travis Etienne. I wanted to savor this one because, quite frankly, I think a lot of what I'm about to say is going to be very... you're going to have heard it plenty of times because how do you not buy on Travis Etienne?
I'll tell you how you don't buy in a few minutes.
Yeah, there's a little spoiler alert for what he's taken.
Let him talk. I'll fill you in.
He's had 1,600 rushing yards in his college career already, and he's on pace to maybe even match that this year. He's never had below 7 yards per carry in his college career. He has had over, and the only reason it's not 7.2 is because he's currently sitting at 7 right now. He's just phenomenal. It's hard not to covet him as a top prospect in this class for me, especially when you consider the fact that he is developing as a receiver. You're getting to watch this player that was already phenomenal in his first 2 or 3 years, and he's still progressing, and you're still seeing the levels that you didn't really expect to see until he reached the NFL. They're already being fleshed out now. So I find it very hard not to buy it, but I'm sure Topher is going to maybe break a few hearts, maybe make a few people scratch their heads, maybe even make a few people wake up. But tell us why you're selling on Travis Etienne.
So not impressed. So here we go. This is going to come as a surprise.
Yeah.
But I don't care. Who wouldn't put these numbers? It's like when DeMarco Murray ran for 1,800 with Dallas. When you have a fullback like he has, huge fullback guy, by the way. So when you have a fullback like that, the college fullback right now, and you have a guy like, when you have a superstar quarterback like that, I mean, the guy's going to be the first overall pick. Who's not putting up these numbers? Come on. He's been blessed. He's been blessed. So yes, rushing for 1,600 yards when everyone's dropped back in a zone, expecting an over-the-top pass. Yeah, you're going to get 7 yards per carry because no one's over there. No one's in the middle.
Counterpoint to that.
All right, go for it.
When we were watching Trevor Lawrence struggle for the first 3 or 4 games, however many it was, last year, they were relying on Travis Etienne, and I know that that's not a huge sample size. I'm very aware, and it's against ACC competition. But he could single-handedly carry an offense against teams that are D1 athletes behind an O-line which, while it is good, it is not to the level of the SEC teams, to the Big 12 teams, to even some of the Big 10 teams. It's just, you see his production, and you see how well of a player he actually is, even when Trevor Lawrence isn't at 100%. I think I would be out of my mind to sell here.
Here's what I'm going to tell you. This is going to be a perfect marriage. If you take Travis Etienne, because there's a chance he's going to be a first-round pick, but oftentimes first-round quality running backs do fall to the second round because bigger needs running backs fall more than other pieces.
We watched a couple of them last year.
Exactly. So now you see Etienne go late first round. Now the fourth round rolls around. A guy like Kylin Hill has an injury. That same team could definitely snag Kylin Hill. And now you have a 1-2 punch like that. And I would love to see that. Most teams don't try to draft their entire backfield at the same time. But I think that would be really cool. It doesn't really have much to go along with what I'm saying. I just think it would be an awesome thing to watch.
Yeah, you're admitting that you don't think that he is a solo back.
He's not a solo back. That's why I am selling. It is why I am so not impressed.
Well, take of that as you will. We're going to move on to our final running back one, which is actually a doubleheader here. We're talking about the Ohio State running back core. You have Master Teague, you have Trey Sermon. Who's really the better running back? Topher, I'm going to let you kick this one off.
I am buying Master Teague.
Not just because of the name.
Not just because of the name.
It has a bit of a hand in it, doesn't it?
When his name is Master, that is so cool.
That is pretty tough, isn't it?
It's really tough. Imagine getting into a fight with a guy named Master. I'd be terrified.
Yeah, I wouldn't be fighting anymore. I'd just
Your name's Master? Can we be friends instead? So, watching Master Teague's tape reminded me of 07 Rutgers football.
Okay.
When Ray Rice was handling the ball.
That's high praise.
Ray Rice was shifty. So is Master Teague. They don't have the same size because Rice was 5'8" and over 200 pounds. And Master is 5'11", pushing the same weight. He doesn't need to carry the weight because he can't get tackled anyway. No one can touch the guy. And when they do, they just kind of slide off him like he's greased up. They just fall off him. He can't be taken down. He's shifty behind the backfield. His open field moves are a little sloppier, so if you trip him up by the feet while he's trying to do a jump cut, yeah, he hits the ground pretty hard. But behind the line of scrimmage, he hits the hole so fast that it doesn't matter. No one's even near him anymore. Master Teague is so much fun to watch. I cannot wait until he's behind the NFL line.
I do think that he will be a solid running back in the NFL, but I don't think he's the best running back Ohio State has right now. I'm going to take Trey Sermon, and we did touch on it a bit earlier. Injuries are a bit of a concern. He has not touched the field yet after that ankle injury that prematurely ended his season last year. He hasn't even topped 1,000 yards either. I know I'm not doing a great job of building him up yet.
You're not.
But it's a story. It's storytelling. It's rising action, and then you hit the climax. You've got to build something up. But the reason he has not ever hit 1,000 yards, he hasn't gotten a ton of touches. But listen to his averages so far. He's at 6.1, 5.8, and then 7.1 last year. He's also those limited touches that have kept him from getting 1,000 yards has made him somebody who you don't have to worry about the mileage that's on him. That was something I was very stressed out about with Jonathan Taylor, excuse me.
Yes.
As we talked about last year. I don't want to see a running back come in with 12,000 yards in college because, quite frankly, you've already been run into the ground. There's not a whole lot of opportunity for you to make it to your next contract. Trey Sermon, if he comes back fully healthy from that ankle injury, he's going to be fine. He's going to have so many more yards ahead of him, quite literally, that I find it very hard to pass on him. Plus, he doesn't have top speed like you were mentioning with Master Teague, but his change of direction is second to none in this class. You watch him in the open field, and I mean, he's snatching ankles. It's like he's hooping. He goes out there. He's Kyrie Irving with running the football. It's amazing. He's getting around everybody. He has no issue just stopping on a dime and turning the corner. He's amazing to watch, in my opinion. And so I'm going with Trey Sermon here. He might not be an Ohio State running back product, but he is the best one out there right now.
I don't know about all that. I'm still all in on Teague. You didn't change my mind. Perhaps you changed some of theirs.
Maybe so.
I just see Master Teague having that every down back potential. I'd like to see a little bit more blocking from him before I do call out the every down back, but he has the hands to be on the field for the passing downs. Does he have the blocking? I need to see a little bit more. We're going to wait before we make those types of claims. I need some more evidence from you, Master, if you're watching this video.
Just saying it out of context like that, it sounds so submissive.
Yes, Master. I need to see more out of you, bud.
Well, that wraps up our running back buy or sell this time. Do you have anybody that maybe we didn't mention this time that you want to bring up a little bit, or are you solid here?
That Clemson fullback, his name slips my mind.
Luke Price.
Luke Price.
Absolute unit.
He is a unit and a half.
He is definitely a baller. Somebody we didn't touch on that maybe we'll get around to doing some kind of breakdown on him. I've done an article on a different website, which I'll link down in the comments below. Puka Williams. He is phenomenal. He's from Kansas. Another one of those big name guys that you like.
These names, man.
He's very Chris Thompson-y.
Ooh.
And as a Washington fan, as we mentioned a few times, I really do enjoy my Chris Thompson type running backs. So he's somebody to keep your eye on as maybe a late round flyer that could grow kind of how Detroit is looking at DeAndre Swift right now. I really do enjoy him, maybe not with that forward front-faced confidence out of the gate, but I definitely think he could earn that. So, yeah. Well, that has been our college running back buy or sell. I hope you enjoyed. As always, my name's Jackson McCarty.
Alongside Chris Barr.
We'll see you guys next time.